Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of this little guy. This is a Todd Begg Steelcraft Mini Bodega. The Steelcraft series by Todd Begg is actually made by Rayot Knives. It's a Chinese company, but they've been putting out really good stuff lately. And so this is a collaboration between Todd Begg and Rayot. It's not a Begg custom, it's not even a Begg field grade or anything like that. This is what's replacing the field grade series. First off, I do really want to thank my buddy Plowman for sending this guy along, because it's a great knife that I wouldn't have got to handle otherwise. Size comparison, Shirogorov Neon, Ontario Rat number 2. This is a smaller knife, which is very nice. Let's see here. Spyderco Delica is around here someplace, I swear. There it is. Got a lot of knives on the table. And, trying to think what else. Yeah, I think that'll do it for size comparison. But either way, so let's go on ahead and jump into the good, the bad, and the ugly of this particular pocket knife. You know, first and foremost, this is a bold statement in terms of your good. It's about as Todd Begg can possibly get. He's a really famous designer in the knife world, and this is just prototypical Todd Begg right here. And it's different. It's got a strong design to it. It's not just another damn stonewashed titanium mid-deck. I love the Spyderco Sleesh Bowie, but it's kind of a boring knife. Its joy is in the details. This has joy in the details, and it's very bold. And so I like this a lot in that way. It's it's a strong statement. So that's cool. The lock bar tension is another thing that really brings me joy, in that there's no stick at all. There's very little travel. The tension is solid enough that you're not going to accidentally open the knife, but it's also quite good in that way. And it's got a nice little scoop here on the lock bar side, which is good ergonomic thinking. Speaking of which, the ergonomics are good. You can hold it with the finger choil up here or choke back, and either way it's okay. It's much better for me with the finger choil, but the ergos are very good. Speaking of very good, the blade. I like the blade a lot. It's S35 VN steel, which is great. It's not too thick. It's not too thin either, so it's not terribly vulnerable, but it's nice in that way. It is under 3 inches of length, which makes it legal in a lot of places, which is good. It's got a harpoon up here, which is normally not something I go for, but it looks nice here. And I do like the DLC, and I know half of my viewers just crap themselves in surprise because Nick Shabazz listed DLC in the good section. Normally I hate it, but this black coating on here, with this contrast against the silver, makes for a really compelling effect. And I like that, honestly, a lot. It looks much more interesting than if this was just a silver blade. So, yeah, go figure, right? The swedge is nice, the choil is nice. There's just, the blade is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And even the cross-drilling here. Although we'll talk about that a bit later. Another thing to point out, 3-inch blade, this is just not a huge knife in the grand scheme of things. Most of the very good knives, the high-end stuff, are huge lately. That's your Greensmore Norseman, your Shirogorov Hati. A lot of your really high-end stuff tends to be on the larger side. And this guy right here is very small and very excellent. And I appreciate that somebody's making small knives still. That's nice. The clip is weird, because when I first got it, I was thinking to myself, oh, that's terrible. I know what's going to be in the ugly. But then I realized the pocket clip is the part of the knife that's going to get beat up and dinged and dented most regularly. If you have it already start off looking hammered, guess what? When you hammer it more, you're not going to notice it as much. So that's actually kind of brilliant. So I'm going to list what I initially thought was ugly under good, which is kind of cool. The ball on the clip is nice. It makes it very easy to get into and out of the pants, which is good. The anodization on this guy is really nice. When I look at the anodized versions versus the plain titanium, the anodization's great. And, you know, with the gold and the blue here, it really does, it lends it something special. This is one sexy ano you got right here, for those of my longtime viewers. The action on this guy would normally be the very last thing in the good section, because it is blow you away sort of good. The deployment on it is great. It fires every time, great detent, and then the smoothness on it is also really excellent. It doesn't quite fall shut in the way that a Norseman or a Neon does, but very few knives do. This is a really, really high-end action. It's an action about which I cannot complain at all, and I am really good at complaining about action. So, yeah, that's nice. And then finally, the biggest thing for me in this knife is the details, ranging from the blade. For instance, the fact that the matching lines, these lines here, are matched on both sides, perfectly symmetrical. I like that. The fact that the holes in the blade are of varied sizes, that's kind of a cool little detail. I do like the machine lines a lot. So the machine lines over here, even though they're just a part of the roughing process from the machining, it's beautiful. Or especially right here around the pivot. Those machine lines are attractive. I like that a lot. The fish scale pattern on this is very nice. And the fact that the very tips of the scales, so to speak, are still gold anodized, that's really, really cool. I like that a lot. The golden lines that are milled throughout here are really nice. The lock bar is great. You've got the same holes on the lock bar as on the blade, with those 3 filled in to accommodate the lock bar insert. By the way, there's a lock bar insert. That's nice. You can watch my disassembly video too. On this guy, it's got the nice scalloping here. The lock bar insert is screwed in internally, so these are the outside of the screws that have been rounded and polished down. Again, they gave a damn. That's a nice detail. The rear mohawk here, I'm not a big fan of aesthetically. It doesn't look as good, but the thing is, when I started thinking about it, when you flip a knife, a part of the motion, a part of the force vector here is going in this direction. And so that mohawk helps to prevent it from flying out of your hand. It digs in just a little tiny bit. And so, you know, even if I'm not in love with the aesthetics, it's a great detail, and it does help. And then the back spacer, to me, is beautiful. Not just on this side, which is beautifully cross-hatched here, but I'm hoping I can show this to you. On the inside of the back spacer, there we go. You have a beautiful blue anodized hammered finish matching the clip, which is a different finish than anywhere else on this knife. The inside of the scales are different. It's just nice. The fact that they put a special and different finish on the inside of the back spacer is cool. So there is a lot of good here. I mean, seriously, it's a bold design. The action and the lock bar tension are just perfect. The blade is great. It's small. It's got a really, really sexy ano on it here. And the details on it are just everywhere. And I love, love, love details. So that's the good, and there's a lot of good here. So on the bad side, the design is going to be polarizing. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. It is absolutely over-ornamented, absolutely over the top. It's rococo. I mean, it's crazy. And, you know, it's grown on me, but only you're going to know whether that's a good thing in your life. One part of the design I don't love is the clip support here. These little stalks almost look like alien, like eye stalks looking around independently, googly eye look to them. Not 100% on them. They're not terrible, but for me, at least personally, doesn't do it for me. One thing more objective to complain about is IKBS. IKBS just makes the knife a little harder to service. Not the end of the world. Watch my video on maintenance, show you how to do it. This is a knife that's made in China by Rayot. Rayot's a good company. They're making a lot of really good stuff, but the thing is, some people just won't buy a knife made in China, so for them, that's really bad. The price up is high. It's $450 for a knife that's a production knife made on a CNC machine. And I'd be a lot more bent out of shape with it if the if the details weren't really there. But the thing is, the details are great. I mean, they're damn near perfect. And that's a beautiful thing. So, you know, the price is high, but it's not so bad. Then finally, the fuller with the holes here is going to collect a lot of crap. If you cut into a bag of sugar, you're going to have sugar in here. You cut into a can of motor oil, you're going to have motor oil in here. You cut into cheese, you're going to have cheese in there. And if you cut into cheese after you cut into motor oil, you're going to have motor oil on your cheese. You can clean it out, but it's just a lot harder than on a knife that's got a very clean sort of blade like this guy, where you can just really wipe it off. This is a CKF Grotch, by the way. So that's a little tough. And honestly, I was going to call that ugly, but the thing is, it's a Todd Begg kind of exclusive thing. The fuller with the holes is Todd Begg. That is his strongest design element. And thinking about this knife as a Todd Begg knife, if they removed that fuller with the holes, it would be lesser for it. I'd probably complain about that because it's a very Todd Begg thing to do. So that's something you have to keep in mind, but I'm not going to call it ugly here. And actually, in terms of ugly, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I carried this knife a fair amount. I don't have any. I mean, price could be a little lower, but that's not ugly. The fuller, like I said, it wouldn't be a Todd Begg without it. So, honestly, it's just, there's no ugly here, and that's a beautiful thing. Unless you find the knife ugly, in which case there's plenty. But either way, let's just go ahead and jump into the final conclusion then. So this is honestly a really great knife. I mean, there's a lot of great detail all over this knife. Anytime you look, there's complexity, and I love that in a knife. It's beautiful. And it's a beautiful example of a knife from one of the most popular knife makers right now out there, and one of the most interesting ones. Todd Begg does many, many things, but he is not creating another damn titanium stonewash slab-sided frame lock. He is really, really unique and going for it. And so this is great that you're able to get something that is uniquely Todd Begg at a pretty low price. And so it's exceptionally well done, and honestly, it's a gem. Yeah, the price is up there, but you're getting a Todd Begg knife for under $500, and this is a Todd Begg knife. And honestly, I can't wait to see more of these collaborations, where a really good American, or any other damn place in the world, custom knife maker works with a Chinese company with really good tolerances and creates something excellent like that. Hey, John Graham, you listening here? You should collaborate with Ray or something. But anyways, so this is just a beautiful thing. And if you love the design, because it is polarizing, and you're willing to pay that price, you absolutely should. There's a whole lot of good here. And frankly, even if you don't, if you happen to see one at a really good price, go ahead and pick one up. It's really, really solid. So, Todd Begg Steelcraft Bodega, absolute gem. Highly recommended. If you're in love, do it. If you're not in love, and you get a good price, check it out nonetheless. Hope this has been interesting to you, and have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of the day, and I hope this review has you begging for more. Okay, I'm done. Bye.